All right, guys, welcome to Survivor Indianapolis Season 4. Our preseason coverage is underway. Super excited to get into the next season. Season 3 is currently still airing on YouTube here. If you're listening to this episode, this part right here is going to be aired also on that Shitty Buffalo podcast feed, as just a little bit of a promo, a little extra plug for Survivor Indianapolis. If somehow you listen to that Shitty Buffalo podcast and you don't know about my other weird thing that I do, Survivor Indianapolis, you can check it out on YouTube. If you search Survivor Indianapolis on YouTube, you will find about 20 videos of survivors of the USS Indianapolis, and then you will find me. Unfortunately, similar name to a very sad tragedy in American history. But I mean, I only really have what else could I call this? Survivor, like David Cole's thing. I don't, it is what it is.
There's no good answer,
This
David.
is the option. This is the option I had, so I went with it. So once you scroll through all the survivors of the USS Indianapolis, then you will find the actual thing you're looking for, which is my yearly Survivor game. So we are here to introduce a few things: the cast, the theme, and then also we're going to draft the players. So first, let's meet the cast. All right. So this season, everyone is coming with a partner, we're going to call them loved ones for the sake of the theme. But really, it's just like a partner, someone that you really care about, that's some kind of connection to you, close in life in some way. So first pairing is Erica and Josh Grover. Super excited to have them. In this season, we'll have the first players, I believe the first players in of any of our seasons that are older than me, which has been something I wasn't sure if I'd ever be able to pull off, because, once you get into my age and older, start having kids, start having other things pulling at your time. I just, it's hard to give up a 8-hour Saturday, or more if it was last season. So I'm happy to have them as well as Keith Kendrick and Abby Kendrick. Again, another couple that is older than me. And then the last, actually, I think before we have them, we have a younger pairing. So I need to get that.
I'm sorry, but this pin that Keith is
it's
wearing,
his birthday.
It's my birthday.
Hey, if they didn't want me to use this picture, they shouldn't have put it on Instagram.
That's true. That's true.
Free to the public.
Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. Am I sorry? Not really. I don't know. So, anyways, also joining us, Jaden and Sunday England.
Nice.
I am hoping it'd be really hilarious in one way. Also would be, a headache. But if they dropped out again, because last season's preseason episode we recorded right before they had dropped out, unfortunately. So we were talking about Jaden and Sunday playing, and then like right after that, Jaden's like, "Oh, I can't make it. I have to work," and he was really bummed out. And so I'm pretty positive they're gonna make it, but it would be kind of ironic if they couldn't again. And then so again, married couple, and that's the last of our married couples. And then we have some friends and sibling, and some pseudo sibling pairs. We have Rachel Wolf and Stephanie Parker, a couple of super close friends that I've known for a really long time. And I'm really excited to have them play, people that I wasn't sure if they would play or not, and so I'm excited to have them. And then we have Cameron Williams and Rebecca Atwood, who I didn't even know this, but like they kind of are like, Cameron's like a family friend, kind of grew up. Is that right, John? Help me if I'm wrong.
Not as more than just grew up. Like Cameron lived with Rebecca's family for like several years.
Okay, cool.
And Cameron was my roommate across the hall at IBC, so that was cool.
So I wasn't aware of that. I met Cameron. I'm not positive if I met him at IBC or after he left. I graduated at IBC. I should say that he did not just leave after he graduated.
Like I did. Like I did.
I mean, okay.
Hey, buddy.
High five. So I wasn't aware of that, and John brought up I wanted to have Cameron play, but I couldn't think of anyone to have him partner with, and he was like, well, him and Rebecca are like sort of kind of like siblings in a way, so that's pretty cool. So we have them. Rebecca, our first returning player this season. We also, our last two members, returning players, Christian and Carson Stafford, brothers, and you can tell that they're brothers because one of them is very happy to be in the picture and the other one is not quite sure about it. I'm excited to have him play again. I wanted to have Carson play last season, but he had a trip planned already. I don't remember where. I'm pretty sure it was Florida.
He was on vacation with his dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Father-son trip.
So that's our cast. And 12 players, not 14. We're cutting down to 12 players to try to see if that helps the time. If it does, there's always a chance we could go back up if we feel like we went too far the other direction. And if we get done, I don't know, too soon, it seems impossible. But hey, if it happens, we can go back up. But for this season, 12 players. So our theme, if you're a fan of Survivor, you probably already figured it out. But if you're not, there have been, I believe, 2 seasons of Survivor that use the blood versus water theme. And the idea is that you are there with a loved one, the blood, and then you are there with non-loved ones, that's the water. And so you are paired in the tribes with not your blood, and you have to decide, like, do I give it my all to beat the other team that includes my loved one on it and potentially risk their time in the game? Now, obviously, in a Survivor season that's 26 or 39 days is different than 8 hours, but it's the same dynamic. So for some of these people, it might be exciting to compete against your loved one, and some of them it may be something you're a little bit like trepid about. So I'm curious to see what happens. But here are our tribes. We have, as always, Star Wars named tribes every season.
Yeah.
As long as I can do it and not be like, there's the Skywalker tribe. Like, I want it to be not obvious. So it has so far been not obvious to non-Star Wars fans, other than me saying it's from Star Wars. But we have the Kino tribe, where we have Josh, Abby, Carson, Sunday, Stephanie, and Cameron. And then the Marva tribe, Erica, Keith, Christian, Jaden, Rachel, and Rebecca. So guys, go ahead and I'll get you guys in here now, your thoughts on the tribes and the breakdown here. Alex, go ahead and start us off.
Yeah, so this is interesting because it's such a weird dynamic, and I think this is going to make it fun because, if you look, you got 3 older players, I guess you could say, with both tribes, and 3 younger players. So it's going to be, how do they work together? And you got, it looks like, 2 females on, I think, both sides. Yeah. With the
3 on each side.
Well, I'm saying like Rachel and Erica are the 2 older females.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
Stephanie and Abby are the 2 older ones. So it's like, where do Josh and Keith fit in with these groups? I think that's what's sticking out to me the most, because I can kind of envision some of the younger ones maybe trying to like work together. But yeah, I think if I'm looking at which tribe I think stronger, I think athletically, Kino might be stronger, but I think that I could see more alliances forming in Marva. So that's kind of where I'm thinking right now.
That's interesting. John, what are your thoughts?
See, I agree. Kino on paper looks more athletic. I 100% agree with that. But that being said, if you just look at the dynamics of the Marva tribe, I got all rhymey there. I think the raw aggression of Keith Kendrick mixed with Christian Stafford, and then like the 2 of them they'll move a mountain if you tell them a good enough reason. Like they'll just start getting wheelbarrows and pickaxes and go. Also, I think, and I'm not just saying this because she's my girlfriend, but Rebecca,
fiance.
Oh yeah, gosh, I gotta stop doing that. My fiance. I think she's gonna play a really good under the radar game. As she kept talking at the table on Saturday to us. I feel like that's going to happen. And I feel like someone like Erica is going to get really into this game if she doesn't get voted off real quick because of how into the game she gets.
Yeah. Brooke?
I have the opposite opinion of both of you.
Let's go.
Erica is my cousin, pseudo cousin, but cousin. So I know her very, very, very well. I have played, I don't know how many Dad's Club games of volleyball against Keith Kendrick. It is a toss-up for me between which one is more competitive. And I think the 2 of them are going to butt heads so badly that it's going to tear everyone else in that tribe apart.
That's interesting. I can see that.
Like,
If they're both too
I can
competitive and they
see
don't mesh. It's
yeah, I
possible.
can see everyone else in Kino being able to work together well enough to make it past the merge. But I think Marva is gonna implode a little bit. And I could be very wrong.
Yeah.
It could be the exact opposite. But I think it's gonna go really badly for them.
Oh boy. To me, I think it's what I was really struggling, to be honest. So if this goes really poorly, you can blame me, sure. But I was really struggling trying to make the tribes fair athletically and strategically. Because one of my things was I felt like maybe athletically I can make it fair if I put Carson and Jaden together. But Carson and Jaden have been close friends for years. And so to have a built-in alliance of two and a tribe of six felt unfair to me, to be honest. Especially when I'm working to avoid, I'm not putting you with your loved one. So, and if you look down the line, there's nobody else that looks like an obvious partnership on either tribe. And Carson and Jaden for sure would have been. So
Mhm.
because Christian and Jaden are similar types of like athletic people in terms of how they would do in challenges. And so having them together was also like, to me, I didn't want to do that, but that was the better option than having Jaden with Carson, who would just be like, we're gonna just be in an alliance together and we'll just pick what we want to do. And it's kind of like an automatic, easy thing. And the thing that I was worried about then was Carson and Cameron together, both young athletic guys, could really help them win challenges. But I keep having to remind myself that every season we do, super athletic guys don't always win these challenges. I mean, the first season, how many challenges did your sister, Brooke? How many challenges did she win? And she
She
had given birth
did
like a few months
incredible,
before.
It was
and she's the least
infuriating.
athletic person I know.
It was infuriating.
I mean,
we
how many?
kept taking her head to the chopping block, and
And
somehow,
She would
like
come
a
through.
turtle, she just
She's won
sucked back
more
in her
media
shell
titles than
every
any woman
time.
in actual Survivor ever.
No, not Wentworth, Kelly Wentworth. But
Okay,
yes,
one,
I mean, okay,
and she didn't know anything about Survivor.
Wigglesworth?
yeah. And then
No,
also, I
Wentworth.
mean, think about season 2. How many challenges did Caleb win? And I know Caleb's strategically very strong, but I thought, okay, Jacob's more athletic. Chris is more athletic. There's several people in that season where I was like,
Michael.
good. Michael, yeah, obviously,
Mhm.
there were several people that I was like, these people should be beating Caleb. No, Caleb won like 3 or 4 challenges.
Yeah, Caleb under his own volition would tell you, he's not an athlete. He's a mathlete.
But he won challenges, and some of them
It's
were
true.
more some of them were more like geared towards your mind, but not all of them were. He
Mhm.
won that one where you had to knock the idol off out of your hand, and
Yeah.
that's strategic with also athleticism to some extent. And then last season, Ben Brooks and Ariel's not unathletic at all, but when you're going up against bigger, stronger guys, she should not have won some of those. Some of them she won because it was guys versus guys and girls versus girls, but still, she won a couple of challenges. And Ben, I mean, he has done athletic things. He's been on basketball teams and done different things. But like, he would not. I'm sure he will not be offended if I say he was not the most athletic person on the trial on the team the season. So, I mean, you have like last season you had Colin and Eric in the game longer than he was, and even before that you had Sam and Jacob. So there
And
were
Logan.
several, and Logan in the very beginning. So there's several people, and I would say all of those people probably on paper you would just look at them visually and say, okay, I think all these guys would do better than Ben did, and none of them did. Eric, I think, won 1 or 2 challenges, and Ben won at least 3. So I can sit here and overthink the tribes in terms of athleticism, but it hasn't been proven to be true that just being athletic and being good at basketball or pickleball or football or anything, volleyball is going to mean that you are going to win these challenges, which is bizarre to me.
Being good at volleyball really does not mean anything.
I mean, for some people it does, but like for this group, I don't think it really matters a whole lot. But so I think the social dynamics are going to matter a whole lot more, which is what a lot of us have said already. And I'm really curious. I really don't know. I mean, outside of Carson and Christian, I don't know anyone in this tribe well enough and the dynamics together well enough. So this might be the closest thing we have had so far to like 12 strangers playing together. You know what I mean? Or I should say it's 6 strangers, right? Because each tribe there's no obvious connection with anyone in the Kino tribe or anyone in the Marva tribe. And that to me is super exciting.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping that it'll keep things a little bit more fresh and fluid than we've seen before. You never know, because once you get locked into an alliance, that safety is hard to give up. So, but here are our tribes. So we're going to now draft the players. So to remind everyone, last year we picked our top 3, and we said like, pick your top 3, pick the top 3 people. If you had to pick the winner and you're trying to pick someone who's going to win the game, pick your top 3. Okay. So people that are not here with us tonight, Chris picked Jacob, Logan, and Brooklyn, who was the first person voted off, the third person voted off, and the 5th person voted off. So I'm sorry, Chris. You won the game. Very good at Survivor. Not so good at predictions. Christian picked Logan, Jacob, who was again 1st and 5th, and then Eric, who won. So redeemed himself at the last minute there. I picked Brandon, Eric, and Brooklyn. So Brandon ended up being like 6th, 7th, which out of 14, not bad. Which is funny because I said he'll either like burn, like I said he'll either crash and burn, or he'll like go all the way to the end, and he didn't do either one. So I was wrong with that, I guess. But and then Brooke, you picked Brooklyn, Logan, and Eric. So again, 1st, 3rd, and then the winner.
I had an alternative top 3 as well,
Oh
which
yeah,
was
but
Brooklyn, Rebecca, and Hunter.
And you had Rebecca then, I guess, and that. But that was what you admitted.
That was my
That isn't
dream
what I
top 3.
think is going to happen. It's what I would hope was going
Yeah.
to happen. So, and then who's left? Alex and John. John had Jaden, which unfortunately didn't play. Brooklyn and
Didn't
Logan.
even make it.
Brooklyn and Logan, who was 1st and 3rd. So basically, like 15th place.
I had the worst of it all. I had the worst picks
Well,
of them all.
But you also picked someone that didn't play, so it's not really totally fair for you. Alex probably had the best picks. Jacob was 5th. And then he obviously had the best picks, because then he had Colin and Eric. Even though Colin didn't really have a chance to win at the end, he was still 2nd place. So it's better than anyone else had. So Alex is our reigning champion. So I'm gonna just on the fly, because he was our reigning champion, I'm gonna give him the first pick, even though we didn't. We didn't plan this beforehand, but I'm gonna give it to him. So I'm gonna actually pull your name off the wheel.
Okay.
And then we're playing for second pick now. That seems good to me. Okay. So Alex is going to pick first, and then we're going to snake draft the 12 players. Second pick is going to be, it looks like Brooke.
Nice.
And then, so it'll be Alex, and then Brooke, and then, so hey.
Watch. I'm going to get this one. It'll be my perennial.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I always get this spot. Get this spot. The worst one in the draft, and I always get it.
So we're going to go with Alex first. And then Brooke 2nd, John 3rd, and I am 4th. And we are snake drafting, so I'll be 4th and 5th.
Yes.
And I will say, I think we should do a point system with it, and we can talk about it a little bit later. But I think we should do something like, if you get the winner, you get heavily more points. And if you get the first person voted off, you get heavily fewer points, or like maybe even negative points. And then basically it can be like their placement inverted is like your points. So if you get 2nd place, you get 11 points, right? Because that's you lasted past 11 people or 10 people, or whatever. But we can figure that out later, just as a way to score it for fun. So let's get to it. Alex, do you know who you want?
Not really. This is like the worst draft the worst draft to go first in, probably.
I don't know. There's a couple of people that I'm like.
Yeah, there's 2 girls that I'm looking at picking here.
Nice.
But I think the one I got to go with first, I think this person's going to be a chameleon and be able to fit in with a lot of groups. And I think, sorry, John, I'm taking Rebecca from you.
Let's go.
First pick.
That was going to be my first pick.
I honestly, just looking at the tribes, just looking at the tribes though.
Yeah.
Like I could see her meshing with a lot of people on that tribe. And then once it gets to the merge, people knowing her, she's kind of like, she works at CCS, so she knows the staff, she knows the students, she knows enough people and young adults. I think that there's just a and she's not viewed as a threat, I don't think either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I would
that
agree.
to me is why I
Very,
think
and she's already ready to go very under the radar in this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Anyone want to give their thoughts on the pick?
She was going to be one of mine. If
Yeah,
he didn't pick her, I probably would have picked her first.
I
same.
don't think
here.
I would have picked her first, but she would have been in my top 3. If you just give me
I would
three
have picked
three
her first
picks,
because I didn't want John to get her.
I love it.
Y'all are hate drafting me.
If you give me 3
I'm
picks,
not hate drafting, I promise.
if you give me 3 picks out of this 12, I probably do take her in 3, but not first, I don't think. But I do think it's a solid pick. I think you're pretty safe in
Mhm.
terms of not getting last place.
Hmm.
So which that's a big part of it. And I think she has it depends on how much she learns from last season in terms of she knew how to plead her case in the final 3. She made the correct argument, but the problem was she didn't do enough to be like, I'm the underdog because I was on the outs, because I did all these things to, put you on the jury. She didn't do enough before then, and she had been voted off, which is funny because no one used it against her, which I for sure would. I'd be like, yo, you were already voted off. You already lost. Why whatever. It's a whole other thing. But so if she learns from it, which could happen for sure. I mean, she's a smart one, so I could see that happening. But let's go ahead and head on to Brooke. What do you think?
Oh, who's my pick?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna pick for a similar reason
Uh-huh.
as Alex picked Rebecca. I'm gonna go with Stephanie Parker.
Oh, okay.
I think, and I could be way off, but I think she is gonna be the social glue that holds Kino together long enough to stay strong past the merge.
Yeah. She's definitely a top 2 or 3 social butterfly on the cast.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a matter of if, as I am kind of predicting to some extent, if Kino is solid in challenges, I think it's a great pick.
Yeah.
However, if they lose a few challenges, there's 1 or 2, she could
If
be.
they lose one, she'll get voted off quick.
I could see
because she's not
somebody.
gonna
I
be
could see
strong
somebody
enough.
else going before her, one or maybe 2 people, depending on how they come across to the rest of the tribe. But yeah, I could see her being the first person voted off. But I also could see her winning the game. I could see either extreme, which is crazy.
It's risky,
But
but it makes sense.
right, just might work. Any other thoughts on Stephanie? Would you guys have had her in your top 3, or how would you have? Were you thinking about picking her?
That's tough.
Yeah, it's 12 people.
It might have been my last pick of the third, or my first pick of the third round, which would be around was it 9?
Yeah.
I mean, I probably put her in the 6 to 9 range because of the social game. I think that could be huge. I just wonder if that would also make people feel like she's a threat as well.
It could. Yeah. That has yet to totally happen in our game, at least.
Yeah.
The social players don't get seen as a threat, which is interesting.
I don't think any of these people are thinking about it in a social way.
Yeah,
I think
true.
they're thinking of it as early survivor, which is win challenges and you can win the game.
That's been the case so far, in past seasons. So, John, thoughts on?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as Alex. I feel like Stephanie's level of success will be super situational, as with everybody. But I feel like she might have to have a few more pieces go right in her direction than say someone like a Keith or an Abby. But I mean she'd probably be my third if on the board. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and do your pick then.
So I am gonna go with I'm gonna go. Oh, this is hard. I'm torn between 2. I'm torn between Abby.
Don't
and
say them both.
Oh, okay.
Don't say them both because I'm next.
Okay.
I mean, you can say it, I guess, if you want.
Yeah.
I'm
it's already too late now.
Yeah.
I'll. Gosh, now I've flummoxed it all up, haven't I?
Maybe. I'm trying to save you, but.
Well, it's too late. I'm gonna take Cameron. I think Cameron's gonna be a really under the radar player. Cameron has the least amount of alliances in this entire group.
That's the one concern. He has no connections outside of Rebecca. But
that being said, the only people on the Kino tribe that I think will be like, we just got to get rid of Cameron, will be Josh and Abby.
Maybe,
I-
yeah.
I feel like Sunday. Well, you know what? Sunday might be the other person.
Yeah. And Stephanie might also. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say for sure.
I'm envisioning Stephanie and Sunday working together for this tribe. I think Stephanie's going to try to get Sunday on her side
That's what I said.
because I just think Sunday's kind of like not really close with anybody. Maybe Carson, who she's the closest with, but like how close are they really? And I think that Cameron knowing Stephanie from singing could kind of help.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
So I think that's a big one. But I think with Carson there, I think Carson's going to be smart enough to play both sides of both alliances, in my opinion. Because
But will he get caught?
You
Well,
have a
that's the
lot of
thing.
faith in him.
Yeah, we'll see.
Did he bring a Bluetooth speaker?
I'll bring one just in case it gets voted out early.
Yeah,
No.
please
No,
Alex, I'll
no,
fight you
Alex.
both.
don't. Okay.
I brought it
think,
last time.
I think Cameron could be a really good pick. I can see. I see winner potential. I see Eric in him, right? Like under the radar, athletic, smart enough to make good moves. I see Eric in him, but I also Eric
grew up on the mean streets of Chicago.
Yeah. But Eric had lots of connections though. Eric had options out the wazoo. Eric could have worked with almost anyone in that entire cast last season. And he did talk to and work with almost everyone in that entire cast last season. Cameron has Rebecca and maybe Stephanie. We're a little bit theorizing on that connection of them having sung together. I don't know. I've played guitar on the platform with different singers and haven't spoken a word to them for a year. That's not. I'm not like proud of that.
Because you're
just
not
tell
winning
me
the
one-
social game, David. You're not
Tell me-
winning your social game.
That's true.
Tell me one person Stephanie Parker has not talked to.
I
Okay.
know that's fair. That's fair. But like we're talking about 6 people.
You guys
So
are just making more and more arguments for why I made a good first pick.
I
You
think
did make a good first pick. You did make a good
Yeah,
one.
I do think again if she can get past the challenges and win, if they win a few challenges early, I think she's can be a really good pick. So I'm gonna go to my pick. I'm taking Abby. Like
Yeah, that's who I was torn
Yeah.
between for my first pick. It's between Abby and Rebecca.
And I don't know if she prefers to go by Abby or Abigail. I don't think she probably would care too much. She's a pretty easygoing person.
I think it's Abby.
Okay, cool.
It's
Sister
Abigail,
Abby.
Abby.
Because it was Sister Abby.
Sister
in high school.
Abby.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
It was so
So I would
Or
like
it
you
is,
to
I guess,
put.
for them.
I'd like you to put Sister Abby.
behind that.
in
What about Rebecca? We're gonna put
Um,
Sister Atwood on there.
There's no kids playing in this
No,
game.
that's Mrs. Crabtree.
Not yet. It's not.
Uh,
You better not jinx it.
TBD, Sister Crabtree.
Okay, so I think Abby will be like the Rebecca of this tribe. Will not be so obviously social like Stephanie will be good at challenges, but not be a huge obvious threat. I don't think. So she'll be able to play under the radar. It's a matter of will she be able to strike and make moves to get the credit at the end. That's so I would be shocked if she was voted off first or even second or third. However, will she get the credit at the end? Who knows? And could she be targeted because Keith is like so competitive that it's bringing her heat? I don't know. I have not played anything or done anything with Keith to see this competitive edge, but I've heard about it from a lot of different people. So, if he's able to rein that in, though, I think she's in a great position. So I'm gonna take her with my second pick because it's snake draft. I really, honestly, all the people that I was thinking about picking have been taken. Like literally, my top 3 has been taken. So I'm moving on past that. So I'm gonna probably go with a high variant. This is really funny. We're going all from Kino so far. So part of me wants to go back to Marva and take somebody from Marva, but there's a reason why we're mostly picking from Kino. So I am gonna go with a high, to me possibly a very high variance pick, and I'm gonna take Carson.
No.
I think that Carson is the kind of player that if he sets his mind to it and does the right things and is careful and strategic, can win the game. But these are things that Carson, I don't know if he cares. I don't know if he cares enough to do that. He'll play and he'll have a good time, but I don't know if he will be invested enough to do that. I know he was super invested the first season, maybe even debatably too invested. But will he allow himself to get invested this time? If he does, and his tribe does well in the beginning, I think he'll be great. If not, it could be a problem. So that's my thoughts on that. So I'm assuming that Brooke, by your reaction, you would have taken him.
He was going to be my next pick because so when we did the girls versus guys season,
Yeah.
part of the reason we were voting off certain girls, i.e. Brooklyn and Brooke Wright and Katrina, was we thought that as soon as we got to the merge, they would just automatically pair up with their significant other.
Yeah.
And that wasn't going to go well for us.
Yeah.
Carson is not going to work with Christian.
That's true. And he'll
Even if
make
his
that
life
be known.
depended on it.
He'll make that be known.
Yeah.
He'll purposefully fight.
We will
against
work
whatever.
against Christian.
We've only taken one person from the married couples. Abby.
Yeah. I actually like both your picks a lot, David, because that's who I was like probably in my top three, to be honest
Oh,
with you.
wow. Nice.
Abby, Carson, and Rebecca, because I think
Mhm.
Carson, like I said a little earlier, I do think that he might be one of the only guys I think that can really connect with Josh, because Josh is super athletic, and I think
Yeah.
that sometimes that Trevor just goes under the radar because he's not as aggressive as Keith,
And
so
he's
you don't see
quiet
it.
or more
Yeah.
quiet.
But I mean, he's competitive too. Like he doesn't like to lose, and he's a great golfer. So I'm just saying. I think Carson's smart enough that he could really play a great game here. But
It's a matter of the want to.
Yes,
And also he has said, because like I told him, he almost played last season, but he had a vacation to go to. And he said, I just want to come and cause chaos and have fun.
Yeah.
If he does that this season, he is not going to the end.
Yeah, and for that opposite reason is why I liked Abby, because I think she's
stable pick.
Yeah, she's very like she knows how to go with the flow.
Is more stable than Carson.
100%. I've just never heard it put that way.
I'm just saying, like Carson's going to be voted off early or go pretty far, I think. Which I said that about Brandon and I was wrong, but I think Abby, like worst case scenario, is going to be like in the middle of the pack. So, okay, we're on to John then, right?
So I'm going to go with Erica.
Okay, I like it.
So my thought process here is, when I see Marva, I see, in like the second Hunger Games movie, when you have the tribes 1 and 2, and like the one lady's got like the teeth that she's filed to points and stuff.
Oh gosh.
And like, yeah, I'm getting those vibes here. But I picture Keith and Erica being like powerhouses together, but the second they have to go and vote, it's gonna come down to the two of them, and I expect Erica to win out on the social game on that over Keith. So I can see it cascading from there in her favor. So that's why I picked her.
I can see that tribe, if they go to tribal council, and being a 3-3 vote.
Yeah.
I can see the guys holding strong in there, because I think that I can see Jaden, Christian, and Keith actually like working together well and getting along, because although Keith, as we've said, and again, I don't know this personally, so if he watches this, I'm not trying to be like, ooh, but I've heard very competitive. Christian and Jaden, while they can be competitive, they're a little bit more, they're a little bit more like easygoing. So I can see them being okay with him just trying to taking the lead on the competitive side of things and letting him kind of guide them, and being willing to work with him. And I can see Erica socially getting the girls, because if Rebecca wants to just kind of go with the flow, she also was a part of a season where the girls were targeted, and I don't think she'd be really eager to vote for Erica or vote for Rachel, just based off of what happened last time after the merge with her, or before the merge, and then also after the merge for her. So I can see it being 3-3, which is why I was hesitant to pick either one of those, any of those people, to be honest, other than Rebecca, because I think she'll be under the radar. But I do think if that does happen, if Erica can get to the merge, she can win the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think I see it playing the same way you said, David, with those 3 and 3. I definitely think Christian and Jaden will gravitate towards each other because they know each other more. I think Rachel and Rebecca will gravitate towards each other more.
Yeah.
And then it's going to come down to how do Erica and Keith work with the tribe.
If they somehow pair up,
that would
be
huge.
Wild.
That to me is what I think could happen. And then they try to flip somebody.
Yeah.
If one of them can just like realize this is a social game, we need to not be competitive against each other. We need to be competitive together. It could change the game for them as a tribe. So
I just feel like we see the likelihood of Erica, Rachel, Rebecca, and Christian coalescing
Yeah.
together stronger than the others.
Yeah, maybe it's possible. If Christian does go with Rebecca, then Jaden might go with Christian, who's going with Rebecca, and then it's all of a sudden all against Keith. But if Keith and
Yeah.
Erica are fine together and they're not butting heads, then who's the target? It might not be Keith
Yeah.
then. Who knows? So that this tribe is, I think, I don't know why I did that. This tribe, I do think, has a lot of options on what could happen, which is kind of making me like nervous to pick people from that tribe. So let's go ahead and Brooke, go ahead and take your next pick.
So I know I said I could see
Actually, Brooke,
top three being all girls.
I'm gonna interrupt you. We're halfway through the draft, and we're gonna have to take a break anyways. Let's just go ahead and take a break right here. So we'll let you pick and go ahead and go again in just 1 minute. All right. So now let's go ahead and get into Brooke, your second pick, the 7th pick of the draft. We're halfway done. Go ahead and lead us into your pick here.
Okay, I know I said earlier I could see the top three being all girls, but you guys have already picked my other top 3 girl options. So I'm going to go with Josh.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that would have been my next pick, I think.
I
Very
think
solid.
he's,
Very solid.
yeah, I mean, you guys said it earlier. He is very competitive. I know him pretty well. He's very competitive, but he's quiet about it.
Which is good in Survivor.
And even if he's very annoyed at someone else in his tribe, he's going to keep that to himself until he can use it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that having
And
that
I think that'll play in
understated,
his favor.
yeah, being a little quiet and understated will be a benefit. That's why I was considering him over Carson. For Carson, I have no doubt that if he gets to the end, he'll be able to like explain why he should win. And with Josh, and number one, I don't know him as well. But two, what I do know is that he's a little quieter, so I have a little bit
Yeah.
less faith. Not that he couldn't do it, but I have no doubt Carson can just talk. So, that's obvious. But with Josh, that's why I hesitated on that a little bit. But if I had one more pick, I probably would have gone with him. So
Yeah, that's a good pick. That would have been my next pick, like I said. So I'll go with the person I was going to pick after
Yeah.
that if you're ready for it.
do it, yeah.
Yeah, I think I just got to go Christian here.
Yeah.
I think Christian's going to be strong. I don't think he's probably going to be viewed as a threat. Maybe a little bit, but not much. I think with his experience of the game, helping out the last couple of years, knowing how it works, knowing how to lay low when possible, I think he could be a wild card. And I think he knows who to pair himself with. So I think he's going to be able to be smart enough to at least outlast for a little while.
Yeah, I see him kind of in the Abby mold, like good enough at everything to not be voted off for being bad, and not too good to be seen as a threat. So then it's like he'll probably, if he gets voted off, probably somewhere in the middle. I also could see him getting the final 3 and being like second or third. It's just the same kind of question as with Abby. I don't know for sure if he can get to the end and then gain the votes.
Yeah.
Which he
That's
could,
fair.
but
That's fair.
that'd be my one hesitation on him. But that's it. Like other than that, he's gonna be under the radar. He's not gonna stand out for the negative reasons or for being too good. Like he's not gonna. Maybe he could. He could just win a bunch of individual challenges. I mean, he's tall and big and long and strong, and like he could just win some of these challenges, and then be too big of a threat for that reason. But I would say early on, I don't see him getting voted off for sure. So it's a pretty safe bet in terms at this point in the game, you're just trying not to get the first person voted off.
Yeah, no. That's why I'm torn on my next pick here because
Yeah,
I got
back to back.
picks.
You're right. Okay. So you'll be finished here.
Yeah, so part of me wants to pick Jaden because I can see him and Christian aligning together, but I think I got to just go for a swing here because I got 2 safe picks, I feel like. So I got to go Keith here.
Yeah.
And I think with Keith, there's a good chance. Like Keith is so competitive, but I think Keith is smart enough to know. Also, like we're probably not giving Keith enough credit because we've only seen one side of him.
Yeah.
Mostly just because I've seen him competitive. I've done a fantasy football draft with him, and like his thing wasn't loading correctly, and he was getting very upset, and he had to like use the light version, and it automatically drafted a player for him in like the first round, and like and he's in like 20 leagues, so it's like it's not like it matter that much, but like he's just super competitive.
Yeah.
And I think there's a part of me that can see him knowing when to lay low. But I also think with the people that are playing now, Erica might have some manipulation factors in here with this. I think because we saw some of the good players get voted off last time early, I think we might see some people in their tribes hold on to their stronger players and vote off weaker links early on if we're not doing the tribal switch stuff. And I think he could be viewed as a very strong player. So that could be what keeps him on longer too.
Yeah. If they lose early and the rest of the tribe is like nervous that they could lose more challenges, they would probably not vote him off.
Yeah.
Right. So I definitely see what you're saying there. And I think again it's kind of a high variance pick, right? It's like a Carson to me. He's the Carson of this tribe. It's like if he could be voted off early. I'd be surprised, honestly, but he could be voted off right at the beginning of the merge. And Carson's the same way. Where like at some point you're seen as too much of a threat, and so they vote you off right at the beginning of the merge. But if he can get through the beginning of the merge and have be in an alliance that works for him and somehow manages threat level, at the end he can definitely clinch it out. So I out of what was left, I'd say it's probably, at this point you swing for the fences, right? You try to go for the win. So
I would also say Keith is one of the most strategic people I know. Just from operating on teams with him at church. I mean, the man is very strategic in how he operates. I think he's probably got several game plans in his head already.
Probably.
Yeah, of how he's going to operate depending on how it goes. Knowing Keith, he's probably binged a couple seasons already because of this. I would not put it past him. He probably has a goal to get through all 40, 45, 44, 40, 46.
Well, we're into 44 right now.
44. There we go. Yeah. So I mean, he'll be out of everyone in the field. I think he would be the most dedicated to the game.
Him or maybe Erica. But yeah,
I think Erica's going to be very, very dedicated.
Yeah.
I think those two work together. I'm feeling it very strongly.
That'd be a strong pairing.
I think it's a high toss up of either they're going to work together and carry each other to the end, or they're going to butt heads so hard right at the start, like Brandon and Ashley did.
Yeah.
And it's going to take one of them out really early.
I think they need to work together, both for the fact that they are they're the only two people on their tribe that are a part of the married couple group and the over 35 group, right? Yeah. So we have
Rachel's over 35.
No, I'm saying they're in both of those groups.
Oh, I see.
They're both being married and over 35. So because we have 6 over 35 and 6 30 and under. These Christians will have just turned 30 when the season happens. He actually isn't 30 just yet. He'll be 30 by the time that the season happens. So I think that they need to work together, but will they realize it is the question. I will say, to give you a lot of credit actually for the pick, the more that I think about it, the more that all of the negative things that we're saying about Keith, which may not happen, are things that I thought about Chris before he played and Chris won the game. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think Chris is aggressive. Chris is competitive. Chris is, he's one of the most competitive people I know. He's also very strategic. He very passionate about if he gives this, if he is going to do something, he's going to go all in, right? So a lot of those same things that we're saying about Keith are attributes that helped Chris win. We did that I would have thought would have been potential negatives that didn't end up being negatives for Chris. So it could be a winner pick for sure. Has that potential. So
love it.
Brooke, let's go ahead and you're next, right? Yeah. You're next.
Yep.
All right.
I am really torn between two people.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to pick wrong, but I'm going to go with Sunday.
Okay.
That's a good pick. I like that.
Kino Tribe is all done.
I don't know very much about her. I've only met her a couple times.
Yeah.
But I'm basing this off of all three of my picks are in the same tribe. And I think I said it earlier, I think Stephanie's going to be the glue that holds that tribe together. And I think Sunday's going to kind of cling to her. And I think Josh is go with the flow enough to where the three of them could work together very well.
Yeah.
That would be a unique trio working
Yeah.
together. I would not expect that.
which could work to their advantage. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm with you. I just don't know her well enough to at all assess how she'll play this game, which is why I
Yeah,
hadn't
I
picked
don't
her.
know I
I
don't know her athletic ability. I don't
Yeah.
know if she can do
To be honest-
Literally
puzzles
never met
or-
this woman in my entire life.
I've met her.
I've met her
She's
once, I think.
yeah.
And she's super nice.
Yeah,
So I
I've
think
n-
she can do
I have
that
nothing
part of it.
negative to say about her.
But
I just don't know her
Yeah.
enough to be like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna pick her for this reason. So if she's watching this, like, don't feel bad.
I'm
We go to
picking
a
her
big
because I
church,
have faith in
okay?
her
I'm
social game.
sorry.
My biggest fear with her is that she kind of gets the Olivia treatment because she's not as known.
Yeah, that
But
could
I also-
definitely happen.
But I also could see her kind of having a similar game to like Annie had last year,
Yeah,
where she kind of
Yeah.
just stays back and just kind of goes with the flow
She
and
just
just
kind of
kind of
watches what everyone else does.
Yeah,
a
for sure.
follower and just hope she gets to the merge with Jaden. I think
And-
that's kind of her and like her best result here is that
Yeah.
is just playing
Yeah.
that game.
it's hard to know a lot of times with couples, like we've seen in the past. We've seen in the past where couples where the woman is not as invested as the guy and kind of works to help the guy. And if
Mhm.
Sunday is in it to win it, which she may very well be, I'm not saying she's not. I'm just saying again, I don't know her well enough. And like Sarah clearly was doing things to help Ben, even if it hurt
Yes.
her,
Mhm.
right? And I don't. That's fine. It's her choice. It's not something I'm holding against her or anything like that. But if I was picking, like I would be more confident that like Erica would not let Josh, like not Erica would not be,
Erica's not
you know,
going to help Josh in any way, shape, or form.
unless it helps
Nope.
her as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Abby, like I can see Abby working with Keith, but I also can see Keith getting voted off because he's competitive or whatever, and then she's free of that and has to gets to go on her own. Sunday, I could see her trying to help Jaden. And that's fine, but that would be my one hesitation: is if she isn't voted off early, is she going to be will Jaden be voted off early, or will she be willing to like do what it takes to put herself over him in terms of trying to win for herself? I don't know. I just don't know. So not necessarily a negative, just like I'm not sure. So
Yeah.
that could be a possibility as well. But I think that like out of the options left, there's really I don't think you could go wrong in the last like 3 or 4 picks. I'm kind of like, yeah, these are all fine. So speaking of last 3 or 4 picks, we have 2 left. John, who are you gonna give me? And who are you
So
gonna take?
so obviously, it just kind of maps out my picks here,
Obviously?
or my options.
You only have 2 options.
I've got Rachel Wolf for the Ginger Ninja. That
Ninja.
but
Huh?
as I've said multiple times, I feel like Jaden may, no offense, but I feel like he might be a backseat driver, or he. What do they always say? If we're getting in the car, you want to be the one driving the car, not the one riding in it. And I feel like Jaden might be riding on middle hump in the back, like so like the worst seat of the passengers.
Yeah.
I take Rachel in
Okay.
this. I feel like she'll be able to work with alliances with Erica, Keith, Rebecca specifically.
Yeah.
But I feel like Erica and Rebecca will work together very, very easily.
Yeah.
And I expect Erica and Keith to work together as long as they need to before they start pulling the knives out on each other.
That's possible.
Yeah. So I expect, Rebecca to get Rachel and Rebecca to get Erica, and then Erica will get Keith. And then at that point, Jaden and Christian, I'm sorry, guys, it just feels like a bad time for you. Depending on their perception of the game. Again, this is all depending on the perception of the game.
It also depends. I think Erica and Keith are so competitive. If they lose, I can see them being like, no, we need Christian and Jaden, and turning on Rebecca and Rachel.
I could also see both of them if it comes down to someone losing on a puzzle, like they will excommunicate the first person.
Because Christian probably won't be doing the puzzle, and Jaden maybe would, but maybe wouldn't. I could see them putting Rebecca and Rachel in the puzzle, and if they fail the puzzle, I can see one of them going home. That's why I didn't pick Rebecca. Or sorry, I didn't pick Rachel earlier. I didn't have a chance to pick Rebecca, and that's why I actually would have taken Jaden over Rachel and Sunday. Not that I think that's wrong or I'm right and you're wrong. That was my intuition, was like I don't see Keith being eager to vote a woman off or to vote a man off if they lose early. If they lost, like if they won several challenges and then they lost, later, maybe. But I could see him being like, no, we lost the challenge. We need to make sure we're strong. And just keep Jaden in unless Jaden or Christian just like royally blew something, which is always possible. And these challenges are pretty fluky. Like they're not meant to be the greatest show of I know they're not meant to be the greatest show of athleticism. They're just meant to be like pseudo survivor challenges, and they're authentic in some ways and very jank in other ways, and they're a lot of fun. But like as we've said, I mean, Caleb and Ben and Jessica and other people have won several challenges, and these are not people that you would be like, oh yeah, they're gonna probably beat me in basketball or beat me in whatever feat of athletic prowess, So if something
Never wanted to know what their workout regime was.
I mean, who knows?
Well, Jessica beating anyone in anything, and I'm not saying this in a mean way. She's my sister. She's not competitive.
Yeah,
She
it's
doesn't
true.
care.
She cared about that for a little while. That's good, but
So like the fact that she was so good at it,
yeah,
and she just
Also,
was like,
we're not pointing out the fact that she literally birthed a child like a
I
week and a
said
half
that.
before.
I said
literally
that.
a month
Oh.
before that.
Like a month or I said it,
Sorry.
but it was kind of over. Like we were all talking at once. I was like,
Yeah.
she just had a baby too. Yeah. So, but anyways, I think that unless Jaden really messes up a challenge, I think he's going to be safe early, and then it's just a matter of can he win. So I don't believe that I have the first person voted off. I think it could be Sunday, could be Rachel, could be even potentially Stephanie, depending on things if they lose super early. Because that tribe, I think Carson and Cameron could work together. I think Abby and Josh could work together. And I think Stephanie can go with anybody, but I don't think she's going to be super tight with anybody other than potentially Cameron. They're just, um, I wouldn't be shocked if Jaden went home first, but I would be surprised. So I'm happy to be given him. I was nervous that I was going to basically get the first person voted off because of the fact that I just was the last person to pick, which it could happen. Definitely could happen. If like you're saying, if it just depends on the dynamic between Erica and Keith. Again, if they work together, and then also if Keith gets his, I'm going to assume that Keith is going to want the guys, and so if Keith is able to convince Erica to vote off Rachel or Rebecca, or if Erica is able to convince Keith to vote off Christian or Jaden, then it could be Jaden. So, but yeah, I think
want any of these people voted off.
I know there's no one that I'm like.
Yeah. I like all of them.
They're very. This is a very rootable cast. I will say I'm excited to have this cast together.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. If we have this cast last year, I think that I take Ashley Ross like first round because I feel like she'd be a powerhouse.
If she played in this group,
yeah.
There's just a lot less connections and a lot less, even though there are some cutthroat players, we're doing some different things to make sure that the pre-gaming isn't going to be a thing. So yeah, I'm excited, guys. It's going to be a fun season. So I think we can talk a little bit more like later. It doesn't really matter. But I think like basically if you have the winner, you can get like just much more points than the rest of us. And if you had the first person voted off, you would get like a negative. Other than that, we could be like, if your first person voted off or second person voted off, you get like 2 points, then third you get 3 points, and fourth you get 4 points. So you get more points for lasting longer. And then we'll just figure out who wins. And whoever wins gets first pick next time.
Are we gonna vote on who we think has the strongest draft?
Yeah, let's do that.
Gosh.
You may go first since I have first pick.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you, David.
If you can't, let's say you can't pick yourself.
Yes, can't pick yourself. That's why I was gonna pick you, David, because I think I was torn between Abby and Rebecca. I really was.
Yeah.
Because I think Abby is probably a little bit more athletic and might have more social connections, but I think Rebecca is going to be able to lay low, and she's just such a likable person. I think that's going to help her a lot. But I do love the Carson pick, even though it's wild. I think that there's a lot of upside there. And, I felt bad that Jaden was the last pick. I don't think he deserved to be the last pick, but Mr. Irrelevant, baby. So come on down, Jaden, show us what you got.
Hey, he could just like pop off.
he could be really, I think he's smart enough that he could really
Yeah.
play this well. And he heard a lot of stuff from the last season because
Really? Okay. See, I wasn't aware of that.
because of all the drama that
There
happened
were.
with
Oh, that's true.
Mhm.
Logan
That's
and
true.
Ashley. So I think he might like actually probably enjoy it more, like you said, like John with having Ashley in this season. Like she might have been like
Yeah.
a first round pick. So I honestly think out of all of them, I think just David has a higher chance of getting a winner out of it.
Nice.
me.
Okay. Brooke, what about you?
I'm gonna go with the same because Carson would have been my second pick if you
Yeah.
hadn't taken him, and I was torn between Jaden and Sundee. So
Yeah.
I think those two are gonna do really, really well. And Abby, I think, is like mellow enough to where she'll be able to just go with whatever's going on. I think she's gonna play like Sandra,
So that would be. I mean,
where
she
it's
won
just like as
twice.
long
So
as it's not me,
yeah.
and just go with whatever's going that boat,
Yeah.
just so that she can get further.
Awesome. Well, I don't mind that. John, what about you?
I'm gonna go. My gut's telling me to go with David, but I'm gonna pick Alex.
You're gonna be contrarian.
Yeah, always the contrarian.
Always.
You
Yeah.
better pick me. I picked your fiance.
Exactly.
You're gonna
exactly.
be in the doghouse if you don't.
I'm gonna pick Alex's one because I think Rebecca was the one I wanted to pick first. But also, Christian has some solid game knowledge after helping the past 2 seasons. So I think there's some possibilities there. Do I think he'll necessarily win? No, but I think he'll go very far.
Yeah.
And
I can see that for
then
sure.
yeah, and then Keith, we've been hammered on him, but I feel like we've shortchanged him a little bit on his not his athletic ability, but Keith, Keith works at Rolls-Royce. He's probably going to do really good at some puzzles.
Yeah, that's fair too. I didn't
Yeah.
consider that.
Yeah, so I didn't think about that until right now, but like Keith has got a lot of good strong abilities. If he can keep his head during challenges, if they start slipping, I think he's going to be good. Because in a challenge, I feel like either Erica or Keith is going to start yelling at their own team. And whoever's the first one to do it is going to be that's going to be the break in the armor right there.
All right. I am gonna go with John. I think that depending on how we score things, if we're looking at people that have the best chance to win, I would go with Cameron, Erica, and Keith. And so because Alex has one of them and John has two of them, I'm gonna go with John. I think both. I think that overall Alex may do better with points wise than John. I don't know, maybe. Keith is the wild card for me because part of it is I don't know him as well, and I think Rebecca and Christian will both do fine, but I think Cameron could play an Eric game like I've already said, and Erica and I think Rachel, the tribe dynamic could lead to her being the first person voted off. But if she's not, she could play like Rebecca played last season. Like they're not that different to me in terms of how they come across. Like Rebecca's maybe a little more outgoing, but I also know her more, so that might not be a fair statement necessarily. Like I talk to Rebecca much more often than I talk to Rachel, so that might not be totally accurate. So I'm gonna go with John for that one. So, cool. Well, I mean, hey, last year we were about 50-50 on our picks, unless you were John and you were not 50-50. So I picked John this time, hoping that he turns it around.
Whoa!
I feel bad that we didn't give Brooke any love, but I do think that Josh is a sleeper.
Josh, I think,
to
is
win
a
the
great
whole
pick,
thing.
and
Oh
Stephanie.
yeah.
And Stephanie, she's not overselling Stephanie's social ability. I just don't like. Part of it is that we haven't seen a woman like win, and we haven't seen social game be rewarded really, other than like Erica. I mean, Eric threw me off there. Eric was a social player, but people weren't like, oh, he was just so like social. They were like, oh no, he turned on the alliance and made big moves.
Yeah.
But part of it was they didn't realize they were voting for him because they liked him because he was
Yeah.
social. So, but they weren't giving him credit for that thing. So it's like, yeah, her social attributes will help her do well, but will she be able to win with that? I just don't know. She could, and I would love to see it. That'd be pretty epic. And Josh could play, an Eric game too. He's a little quieter. He's smart. He's athletic. So I could see the Eric game in him as well. So
Josh is giving me like dad at a t-ball game vibes, where he's like heavily invested in it, and he's just watching these kids swing and swing and swing and never hit anything. But and it's eating him up inside, but he's still cheering his heart out. Yeah, and he's got a whole bucket of icy pops, just ready for the team whenever they and eventually lose. Lord, let them lose. Just get done with it.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm getting the vibes from Josh.
All right. Well, like last year, we're probably going to be mostly wrong about lots of this stuff. So we'll see. Just doing our best. So I'm excited to see what happens. Look forward to it. So thanks for joining us. And hey, look forward to videos, hopefully coming pretty soon. The plan is maybe like late June, early July. So don't hold me to that, but hey, we'll see. All right, guys. So we'll catch you later.
Adios.